book lovers, my name's Victoria and welcome to My Books and Me. Today I will be doing my February book haul, and I kind of went a little bit over the top compared to last month. Kind of. But hey, you all like books. You're not going to judge me, are you? So this month I managed to pick up 15 books. And to be fair, 4 of them still haven't arrived yet. But hey, you'll see them in the March haul. So let's get into this because it's kind of heavy. The first book I picked up is Frostfire by Amanda Hocking. I've already read some work by Amanda. I read the Tyrell trilogy, which is Switched, Ascend and Torn, which I absolutely loved. So I've been meaning to read something by Amanda ever since. And then I found out that Frostfire and the other books in the Canon Chronicles, I think that's how you say it, actually takes place in the same world that the Tyrell series did. So I'm excited to get into this. I'm a bit unsure whether I should read the first trilogy first before I read this, just so I can get like back into the world or not. I'm not sure. The next book I got is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. When I got this book, I hadn't even opened Fangirl, which I bought in January, so I was pinning a lot of hopes on the fact that I would enjoy Fangirl and Rainbow Rowell's writing, and it actually paid off because I loved Fangirl and have dove straight into Eleanor and Park, which I love so far. It is about a girl called Eleanor and a guy named Park who seem a very unlikely pair, but soon are working their way into each other's hearts via a bus trip and mixtapes, and it's really sweet, very interesting, and I can't wait to finish it. The next book I got is The Disreputable History of Frankie Landau-Banks by Lockhart. I saw this book on a recommends list a while ago and the name sounded really interesting and the cover looked kind of interesting. It might not look interesting to you, but to me it looked interesting. And I'm still not entirely sure what it's about because I can't get much from the blurb, only that it is about Frankie Landau-Banks from the ages of 14 to the ages of 16, so it should be an interesting read. The next book I got is A Little Something Different by Sandy Hall. It is an interesting story which is told from 14 different perspectives, none of which are the actual 2 people involved in the relationship. It's really interesting, and I love the fact that there are objects like a bench and a squirrel who have their own perspective about this couple's love. It's really great, and I've already finished it, so you can check out my review below. The next 2 books I got are the first 2 books in a trilogy, and that is The Boleyn King and The Boleyn Deceit by Lauren Andersen. The third book is The Boleyn Reckoning, which I hope to pick up soon. They take place during the Tudor era, where William Tudor, now King Henry IX, is on the throne. It is a rewritten look at history, as if Anne Boleyn had given birth to a son instead of miscarrying and losing her head, and Jane Seymour coming in. So I'm an absolute sucker for anything to do with history, English history, the British monarchy, and the Tudor era. So I'm definitely going to love these books, and I can't wait to get into the series. Continuing on my Rainbow Rowell shopping spree, I got Attachments. I saw this book a while ago and I knew I wanted to get it because the premise just sounded really interesting. And again, I picked this up before I even started Fangirl. So I was, again, pinning heaps of hopes on the fact that I was going to like her work, and it really paid off because I'm going to be reading this as soon as I finish Eleanor and Park. This book takes place in 1999 when the internet is relatively new and 2 office workers email each other constantly, talking about every little detail in their life, and their IT guy, who reads everyone's emails, and they know this, begins to fall in love with one of them through the emails that they send. It sounds really interesting and I can't wait to start it. The next book I got is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I have been meaning to read this book and watch the movie forever. Everyone keeps recommending it to me, and I know they've both received great reviews. I've only ever read one other Marcus Zusak book, and that was The Messenger in high school, and I did enjoy it, but kind of didn't because, you know, I had to read it for school. However, I do hope to read it again soon. So anyway, The Book Thief sounds really interesting. It has gotten great reviews and I can't wait to start it because I definitely think I will enjoy it. The next book I got is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I know this book has received great reviews and I was inspired to read it after the November box of Carrie's book club. Despite me not actually getting that box, I did see its contents and have heard Carrie talk about this book. So it inspired me to pick it up, and it sounds really interesting. I love the cover. Who could say no to a cover like this? And I can't wait to get into it. So the next book I got is The Girl in the Photograph by Kate Riordan. I don't know how to say it. This is a 2015 release, and it came up in like my new releases and my recommends, and I absolutely loved the cover and the title and the premise. So I thought I had to get this book. All I can gather so far from it is that it takes place in 1933 when a woman moves into Faigley Manor, and she realizes that she is connected to a woman who disappeared a generation ago, and she tries and works out like why she completely vanished. It sounds really cool and I can't wait to start. It is definitely going to be one of the next books I read. So the next 3 books I got were actually heavily discounted. When I went out shopping with my mum a while ago, in the marketplace there was this stall stand thingy that had books for $1 and $2. So obviously I wasn't going to pass that up at all. So unfortunately most of the books were ones I hadn't heard of or seemed like old books, and ones I just wasn't going to pick up, you know, like those shonky discount books that no one really buys. However, I did manage to find 3 books that were of interest. The first is Colours Aloft by Alexander Kent. I found out that this is like one of many in a series, although it's not like a series you have to read in order. It is just a series centered around a particular character. All I can gather from this is it is set in September 1803 when Vice Admiral Sir Richard Blytho finds himself as the master of a French flagship which soon fails, and he has to like save himself. I don't know, it just sounded kind of interesting when I picked it up. It's kind of losing interest on me at the moment. However, I hope to read it eventually and see if I could maybe read some of the other books by Alexander Kent. The next book I got is The Blood Debt by Sean Williams. I was intrigued by the title and the cover, and I really mustn't have looked at the cover that hard because it actually says on the cover that it's book number 2 of the series. The other books weren't there. I would have noticed them, so I'm a bit disappointed. Hopefully I can read this and then go back to book number 1, or I can just find book number 1 and read it. I can't really gather much of what it's about by the blurb, but I'm kind of picturing Avatar: The Last Airbender and the Disney movie Treasure Planet and Atlantis. That's kind of the feel it's got going on here. It looks really interesting, and I hope that it's actually really good because I wouldn't mind, you know, finishing off the series. And finally, the last discount book I got is The Poison Diaries by Maryrose Wood, inspired by the Duchess of Northumberland. What really stood out to me was the cover and the really short blurb that's on the back of the book, which sold it for me. And I'll just read it to you because I just think it's really great. Foxglove, oleander, moonseed, belladonna love. In the right dose, everything is a poison. And that sold it for me. And it wasn't until I got home that I found out there's actually a blurb on the inside, which is like the full blurb. What I can gather from it is there's this girl, Jessamine, who lives with her father, who is an apothecary, and they are soon lumbered with an orphan, and he makes Jessamine find out the secrets of the apothecary in some secret garden. It sounds really cool. It's the first book in a trilogy, so hopefully I will enjoy it because I want to read the rest of it. And I mean, this cover looks so cool, so I kind of want more covers like this on my shelf. So the final 2 books I picked up in February are a little boring because they are my university textbooks. I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Arts, majoring in history and minoring in literature and politics. So this semester I'm taking 2 history subjects and a writing subject. So the first book I had to get was Media and Society into the 21st Century by Lynn Gorman and David McLean, because my subject is called Media and Society in the 20th Century. It might sound boring, but my subject outline looks really interesting, and I'm just about to start my university year. So I can't wait to slowly work my way through this book and the subject material because it should be really interesting. And finally, the last book I got is The Little Penguin Handbook by Lester Faigley. This isn't actually on my textbook list, but I've been meaning to pick it up because it just sort of helps you write like different sorts of essays and how to like write your best and get the best marks, and hopefully it'll help me. It has a lot of great tips, and not just for essays. Well, most of it is for writing essays. There are tips to improve, you know, your own writing, so it should be good. So that's all the books that I actually received in February. As I said, I have got 4 more books coming, but you will see them in my March haul. I'm quite happy with all the books that I picked up. There are some that I'm definitely going to be reading next. It might be a bit hard because I want to kind of read all the books next, but I can't. Once I finish Eleanor and Park, I will be moving on to attachments, and then I'll probably make my way kind of through this pile because they are all really good books. I will definitely be picking up more books in March. One of them will be Landline by Rainbow Rowell, so I can complete my collection so far. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe, check out my blog, follow me on Twitter. Make sure you check out a recent unboxing video I did. And I'll see you guys in a few days when I do my January and February wrap up and my TBR. See you soon!